Hello everyone, today is March 25th, 2020,
2020.
and we're in the middle of a pandemic. I hope you guys are surviving well, staying safe, staying indoors. We are, but yesterday we had to go get groceries. It was a must. We were starting to eat spaghetti with no meat. We were out of bread. We were out of everything pretty much, so we had to go. It was necessary, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my experience going grocery shopping during a pandemic with a chronic illness that puts you at high risk. So it was a little stressful, I'm not going to lie. We were in our Bible reading tonight. I was reminded we were reading Revelation 12 and 7, and it says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death." So we as Spirit-filled believers feel like, death is just the beginning for us. And it wasn't so much death that I feared, it was getting an illness and having it wreak havoc on my body. I just got over a really bad case of bronchitis. I was sick the whole month of February, and with a cough that I just could not get rid of. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, she had COVID, but it was not. It was just bronchitis, and it was not fun. So I really was not wanting to tempt my body by trying to give it COVID with being out in public. So
it's supposed to be so contagious, so they talk, it's everywhere.
So we've been really staying inside. I have several autoimmune diseases. My immune system is crazy. It tries to fight everything but an illness, so that's really not a good idea to have an illness like COVID that my immune system may ignore and fight another part of my body. So we're trying to stay safe. Paul has some medical issues as well that we just didn't think it was a good idea to be around people right now. We're trying to play it smart, obey our government. I feel like they're doing the best job that they can right now with everything going on.
Matter of fact, just to be safe, we better clean the screen right now so those
that's
viruses won't get on us.
That's not antibacterial.
It'll just make it safe right there. Okay.
Did you just stop the video?
No, it's still going.
Okay. Paul and his antics, always knocking something over. But anyways, I wanted to give a couple of takeaways from my shopping trip and our experience with what happened. I did contact a friend the day before that had been out shopping and kind of wanted to know what the stores were like, what could we expect.
Because the last time we had been out to the stores, it was still pretty early on, and a lot of things were starting to disappear, and there was a lot of people.
Yeah,
and we hadn't heard everything in the news. It hadn't escalated in our area yet to that point.
Yes, and my main two concerns were, A, there were going to be a lot of people out, and it was going to be really hard to social distance. And B, was there going to be even food to put myself at risk to even go out there to get something, So luckily, we live in a pretty small town, and people were obeying the rules for the most part. And there wasn't a lot of hoarding, I think, going on. By the time we came, the stores had put limits on things.
That was a big deal because the limits made a big difference.
Yes, I think they should have done that earlier, but I'm not judging people because this has been crazy for everybody. I wish Walmart had, we went to Walmart and H-E-B, by the way. Those are our two grocery stores here in town.
Not a sponsor?
Not a sponsor. That's actually trademarked, so we shouldn't say that either.
Anyway,
Walmart.
H-E-B is a grocery store, local grocery store in this area.
Yeah, in Texas.
South Texas, Texas, yeah.
And Walmart, I wish they had their signage a little better because they said one item and not one bread item. So I got multiples, like I got buns and bread, thinking it was one of.
Yeah, we thought it was like maybe a type of bread.
Yeah.
You got buns, one of these, one, fajita shells, tortilla shells, whatever.
And like one milk was one milk, period, not one milk product. So I couldn't get like milk and half. So I think they were a little confusing with and the social distancing was not as good at Walmart. I had some
Could you get toilet paper and Kleenex? I don't know because they didn't have anyone.
Oh, and we probably should talk about what we did before we went to the store. So we prayed, of course, for God's protection. And I also wore rubber gloves, like, the kind you buy at the store, the disposable ones.
That may have been a mistake
But
for you.
yes, that was not so much to protect me, but to keep me from touching my face, because during this I have learned that I touch my face a lot, and especially my glasses, I push them up and it's very close there. And I just touch my face a lot. I did not know how much I touched my face until all of this. So that was a safety for me to keep myself from touching my face. It worked, however,
Her
by the
hands
time-
were so full of sweat. She was driving with the gloves on,
Yes.
and the sweat was dripping down on the steering wheel. We had to sanitize the steering wheel to get it off of there. It was just like, it would have been better not to have worn them.
it was horrible.
It was not a good idea.
By the time
For
we
her.
got to the car and was driving, the gloves had powder on the inside of them, and it mixed with my sweat. And it was dripping out of the gloves onto my black pants, and it looked like milk.
Look at them. They're making faces. They're
And-
going, ooh, yuck.
And it was gross.
See through the
So
camera now that I cleaned it.
I ditched the gloves when we got to HEB. I cleaned my hands with sanitizing wipes.
You're making motions with the hands. I can't see them.
I know. And we went in, and my hands felt better, but I still was worried about touching my face. HEB was a lot better there I am touching my face again. As far as the social distancing, they put you in a queue to
Yeah,
get.
when you entered in, they made you go one at a time, and they had little feet on the floor or something, red stickers saying 6 feet apart, and they let you know you can only go one at a time. You have to come in. You have to sanitize your hands, and you made a mistake.
And they sanitized the carts for you, which I didn't realize that I had to get the cart and bring it in, because I had read online that they had the carts inside now. That wasn't true at our HEB. So I had to go back out after sanitizing
That
my
was her mistake.
hands the other way and come back in with the cart.
Did they give you the whole spiel again when you went back in?
No, she knew I had been in already.
And well, luckily for us, when we went, it was not crowded, because apparently I think what they're doing is they're letting people out and one person go in when one goes out. But there wasn't that many people, so it was only a few people, so
yeah.
it was just a couple minutes. Probably not even, maybe about a minute.
And
for you to go back.
I think the time of day we went was good. I didn't know what time to go, but I had heard that there were long lines in the morning time at stores. I didn't know if it was around here or not, but we went about 1 o'clock, 1:30.
Yeah, it was around 1:30,
in the
1:45.
afternoon, and
PM.
it was pretty good.
Central Time.
And so they sanitized the cart for you and handed off to you, and then they had it set up where you go down one aisle and then you have to exit and go the other way for the other aisle to kind of keep social distancing.
Yeah, the carts were upside down with the things say exit one way, entrance one way, and you weren't supposed to go. Yeah, I was saying.
Okay, that was great, but it gave
find it a
me
little confusing?
anxiety
Oh,
because, I have a hard time when I go to the store anyways. I have problems with stimulus, like too much stimulus coming at me all at once, like a crowded mall. It affects me, and I have vertigo with that and stuff. So going to the store sometimes gives me angst as it is, and having to follow directions while shopping and trying to remember everything that I need to get was made me anxious, and so it was a good shopping experience, but by the time we got home with everything, and we bought more than we normally would because we're trying to not go out as much, and so, will you stop?
I was getting cat.
So we bought more than we normally would, so we wouldn't have to go out as often. We didn't hoard, and we didn't break the rules with, trying to buy too many things. But it was exhausting, and that's why I'm just now getting to this video, because I've kind of had to take the day to reflect on things, and, I really wanted to put something together, though. This is Oreo. I made sure he had lots of cat food to keep him, because we can eat rice and beans, but he's got to have meat. And so, but I wanted to share because I know that this is unprecedented. There's a lot of people going through things right now, and I know I have lots of friends.
It's I'll pause you just for a second, just to, in case you weren't aware, it's like, everybody's aware, but the news is so full of so many people dying, so and like your community you're in, saying if it's not there yet, it's going to get there. People get infected, then people start dying. And we even got a little like birthday card from the President Association today about this coronavirus thing. It's in the mail. In case you hadn't heard yet, they send you in the mail to what they call us. There's no name for it. They don't know who we are. But anyway,
Well,
they're to all the American USA people, I guess. So it's a very time people are being anxious everywhere, and with her underlying illnesses or autoimmune diseases on top of it, it's even more.
yes.
It's a bigger thing. So go ahead and say what you're
Yes.
going to say.
So,
Shut
yeah.
up, Paul.
So it's
Okay,
it's a lot to take in, and it was just kind of needed a day to get myself together, my thoughts together, and I was glad I did because there were things that happened today to kind of make me appreciate more things like the Revelation verse that we read tonight in our Bible reading.
Revelation 12 and
That
7.
I hadn't even thought of before that, but love not their lives unto death, and so
She's encouraged by a verse that talks about blood and death, but hey, it's true.
y'all see what I gotta live with.
I see.
Well,
Because I clean
thankfully,
that camera. That's why they see.
Paul and I are together quite a bit as it is, so this hasn't been as hard on us as it has been on other families that I know are struggling because they're together more than they probably normally are. So I wanted to talk about the shopping trip. It was good overall. We got lots of good stuff. I don't think we're going to have to go out for quite a while. And I'm hoping that other people have things. We got everything that we needed pretty much. And I know there's other people that are struggling. They don't have a lot. And I hope that that's not you. I pray that that's not you. But I want to talk about other things that we have to deal with having autoimmune chronic illness type things. So right now, probably a lot of you heard Donald Trump, the president, talk about the drugs that they're trying for COVID-19. Well, one of those medications is a medication that I take, and a lot of my autoimmune friends take it. They take it for rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's syndrome, scleroderma, lupus.
These are serious things. It's
Yes,
very serious.
serious things.
Besides the COVID, this is all serious stuff on its own.
Yes, and it is it's a drug that regulates your immune system. So it's very important for those of us that have immune systems that are out of control and wreak havoc on our bodies to kind of regulate that. There's a shortage of it now because they're trying to use this for research on the COVID. And I understand that they need that to save people's lives. I get it. But I have friends that are struggling to get their prescriptions refilled. Some of them are already out of their meds. They're worried. They don't know what's going to happen.
It's so overwhelming that even you were telling me this article that they were saying there are certain things that can cure people. That you say a old couple took something they thought they had that would help them. It was supposed to be to clean out a fish tank, and they overdosed. It's that kind of a world we're living in.
Fearful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to actually. We were watching the news because we was curious, wanting to see like where we're at now, where we're from. But it's like it got so overwhelming. It's like it can be downright scary when you see people who are all these old people. They're dying because we got cameras everywhere now. Overseas, people are just dying. They're old people in the ventilators and can't breathe. And it's like, could that happen to you if you go to Walmart and you are, bump somebody and they breathe on you and. Is that going to happen to you? This is the society that we're living in right now during this global pandemic of COVID-19, coronavirus. But not everybody's going to die.
It can be overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming.
So don't indulge in that too much.
Yeah.
I mean, keep yourself apprised of what's going on, but don't sit there and watch the news 24/7.
Yeah, so we had to kind of turn some of that off, tone it down.
Yes.
Tone it down.
And, just don't check on things so much. And so some of the coping mechanisms that we have done through this is I went old school and,
Go ahead.
I went old school and found me some Jackie Velasquez on YouTube, the Heavenly Place album. I think it was from like the 90s. It just, I don't know, I guess it takes me back to a time when I was younger and things weren't so crazy. But I love it. It's such a soothing thing. Whatever you like that, just, indulge in it. Like if you're cleaning, I clean, I stress bake. I made that apple pie. So
we even got to have Alamo. It was a
you know,
vanilla ice cream on top.
yeah, I think a lot of people are stress cleaning right now because you're trying to disinfect everything.
And stress
so
eating.
When you're doing that, listen to something good, you know. And we've been walking outside, especially in the evening times because it's kind of hot here in Texas. And so that's been really nice, just feeling like you can breathe and not be so cooped up in the house. And Paul and
Maintaining a very, very big social distances. There's usually not even anybody
yes,
else out.
There's nobody else out
because we go later in the night. And
I don't
we don't see
go
anyone.
during the day.
Hardly at all.
And then, of course, Paul and I, we use levity. You've probably seen on my Facebook. I've been joking it up the last few days. That's kind of how we deal with things.
Yeah, like she's talking about looking at lighter sides, while in the meantime I'm watching these disaster movies with the world coming to an end.
He's been watching like survival movies, apocalypse movies, and I'm like,
yeah.
are you kidding me right now? They make him feel better. And me, social distancing, we can use the little hands to shake people's hands with instead of your regular hands. We got these a while back. I'm going the wrong way with them. I always do that. But these little hands.
If your husband if your husband's acting,
my husband.
if he's acting goofy, you can slap him.
You mean Minnie Pearl?
Ow!
So, that is always good. We've watched like funny animal videos on YouTube are great. And like just seeing people, sometimes some of the people that we watch on YouTube, just being real about their quarantine and stuff, it makes you feel like you're not alone. So that's been really good. Just talking on the phone with people and things like that is really good. So be real about what you're dealing with, because I know anxiety is a real thing right now. A lot of people are dealing with it. Be real with it, but don't give it life. Just, try and set your mind on things above. And also just, like we were saying, laugh. I know it's such a serious time right now, but there are some really good things going on right now. I've seen families getting together, I know, a while back they were saying that this generation that has the cell phones all the time, they're so disconnected, they don't have any real friends, they're just all on Facebook, they're not really connected to anybody. And I have seen through this that is so far from the truth. People are still connected, and they want to be connected, and this is really hard for a lot of people. So just love on one another, but from a distance, and take extra time with God.
It's amazing seeing this time too, outside of what you're saying, but kind of leveling the playing field. The people who are rich and famous and successful out there doing a lot of stuff, right now they're like everybody else. They're locked in their home with their families, pretty much on lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, they can go out. It's like.
And they're even getting it. I mean, they said today Prince Charles has the COVID, and so no one is immune from it. But let's just be proactive, being protective of it, and
I do like how
God.
they've had. If you've been looking at the COVID stuff, the maps and stuff, they have this is how many infected, this is how many have died in the areas. They've added recently how many have recovered, and that number's going up. And some of the times they're overtaking the deaths, which is very encouraging. Just a temporary
really
situation.
Important. Yeah.
And this is just something we'll go through. We'll come out of it. This seems like this has the ability to change worldly things all over, not just local. It's like everywhere.
Well, it's worldwide.
Probably for the better overall.
Yeah. So take extra time with God. I think that we've been blessed with some of this extra time now to really get in tune with Him and what He wants out of all of this. I'm not saying that God created this or anything, but in every situation, God can work. I was in prayer a while ago. I was just envisioning people in hospitals, praying over people, and them getting healed, and seeing His signs and miracles, and people turning back to God. I've read articles about atheists turning to God because of this, because they see that they're not in control of this, that God is, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. It's not good what's happening right now, but I think
when the doctors can't rely on their science and their
own
medicine,
humanness.
And all they can do is decide who's going to live and who's going to die for the next little bit, and they can't even choose who's going to live, so to speak, then they're out of options. You got to go the one up there,
Right.
metaphorically.
So,
God, talking about.
mhm. So my last scripture that I'm going to talk about is in 2 Timothy 1:7. And I know you guys have probably heard that one a lot through this, but it's, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That scripture that was written by Paul to Timothy during a time of great persecution of the church. And he was basically telling Timothy, do not fear anything that's coming because God didn't give you that spirit. So my takeaway from that is sometimes it's okay to be afraid. We all get afraid sometimes, but don't feed that fear because it didn't come from God. He never gives us that. He always gives us the power to overcome it through love and a sound mind. He'll give us that sound mind even in these circumstances. So I know that there's a lot of angst, a lot of fear and anxiety surrounding this, but don't feed it. Try and feed yourself other things. The Word of God is wonderful, wonderful for that. There's just so many things in there. His promises are true, and you can see it all through the Word of God. So that will be a good encourager for you. If you don't have a daily Bible reading, try to get one because I know that will encourage you. Well, definitely, and I already talked about that, but definitely take time to pray. Pray for our country, pray for the world, because it's not just our country, it's other countries that are struggling even more than ours is, some of them. So definitely, I don't know, what's...
Hey, man. My whole species got wiped out by COVID-13. I'm a COVIDosaurus, man.
Okay,
You gotta be careful out there.
that looks like the thing the guy ate that caused this whole mess, so I think you
Yeah,
should
man, I'm a COVIDosaurus. What do you think, man?
get rid of that thing. See what I gotta put up with, y'all.
Oh, man, I spilled my water.